We'll take in turn. You'll each have 2 minutes. Jack, do you want to start us off?
Yep. I've been involved in student media since my first week here. I've seen quite a lot happen in the Pluto office over the last 3 years and worked under 3 different media officers. And the way in which I've seen the last 3 take on the role stands me in great stead to hopefully take over and reignite passion for student media. I know the process of what works and what doesn't, and have a good gauge of what people want. I'm a journalist for The Independent and contributed to The Guardian for 3 years, so I'm well aware of the sort of quality our SU needs. The paper and magazine have vastly improved this year, but I'm still not happy enough with their online presence. Pluto has under 300 Facebook friends, and in a university of thousands, that is a huge disappointment and undermines the superb work media volunteers are doing. Social media is a major player on any landscape, and I want a band of marketing students to help promote Frequency, Pluto, PR1 and PSTV. Debate has been raging online at students doing courses other than journalism being overlooked in recent years. Whether that is true or not, I want students with an interest in filming, commentating, writing, producing or designing to beat my door down next year to get involved in the media platforms we offer. And I pledge to converge all forms of our media in order to create a brand. News and interview packages will be produced for PSTV to ramp up its content. And I'm not in the business of making promises that I simply cannot keep. After significant research, I can promise that news will be produced for PSTV and Frequency, as well as Pluto. Frequency will become 24 hours and be broadcast across campus for freshers. There'll be a weekly PSTV and Frequency news show, and there'll be live broadcasts and highlights of sporting fixtures every week. The most experienced candidate doesn't always win, but please make sure it happens this year. It's time to vote Jack Gorn for Media Officer.
Brilliant, thank you, Jack. And Sophie, you again have 2 minutes.
Hello everybody, my name's Sophie Bennett and I'm standing for Media Officer here at UCLan. It's been interesting to read everyone's manifestos and even more of an eye-opener to observe the differing approaches people take. There's been much said from quotas of I, me and I will. My approach will be a little different. Supported by my direct working experience within media and events in particular, the intent is to focus upon we and us, and to incorporate, integrate and represent all sectors of the university within the media arm. We need to embrace fully our now multicultural situation and fully represent every race, creed, gender and age. There is a wealth of knowledge and experience out there ready to be tapped, and to not do this would be a missed opportunity. How do I aim to do this? I have been exposed to television, radio and journalism all my life, as both my parents are lifelong media workers. Working personally within the Trinity Mirror and Bauer Media, I've gained valuable first-hand experience within radio, including actual transmission, presenting, event planning and execution. I see myself as a facilitator and an expediter, using the contacts gained and experience earned to get results. To ensure development of a strong team working ethos within the existing media team, I will incorporate volunteers and encourage long-term growth through recognising and rewarding them. After all, the volunteers are the vital component. From discussion with the students, there seems to be a lack of awareness of what media at UCLan has to offer. Work needs to be done to publicise and increase that awareness, and I believe that should happen through wider involvement of the whole student body through fortnightly polls, debates, competitions that are worth talking about, to create that want to pick up the paper or to log online. Please vote for me, Sophie Bennett, for media. Let's stop talking about it and make it happen.
Thank you, Sophie. And next we'll go to Alison. You have 2 minutes starting now.
Hi everyone, my name's Alison Whitfield and I want to be your media officer for 2012. I believe that I am the best candidate for this position because my experience and knowledge spans across print, online, radio and television. I am hugely passionate about student media and I believe that students at UCLan deserve the best opportunities possible. From speaking to students over the last few weeks, I've found that too many students at UCLan feel they are excluded from student media due to their course background. I want to encourage any student to get involved in student media as it can provide fantastic experience and impressive work to show to prospective employers. Students will be paying huge amounts of money to come to this university, and I will make sure that their student media experience gets them their money's worth. I have studied all aspects of journalism over the last few years, and I have presented for Frequency Radio and written for Pluto. I have other experience working for BBC Radio Lancashire as a reporter, JDG Media as a website contributor, and tomorrow afternoon I will be presenting a 2.5-hour sports show live from the TV studio in Greenbank Building, which will then hand over to live commentary at Preston Sports Arena and reporters from other UCLan sports games. The show will be streamed live online and is a groundbreaking show which has never been attempted before at UCLan, and will be produced completely by UCLan students as presenters, commentators, equipment operators and directors. I will strive to increase these opportunities for students in the future. All of these are great examples of why my experience and skills highlight why I believe that I can show a real difference to UCLan student media. So vote Alison Whitfield for media, because Whitfield is working for you.
Brilliant, thank you, Alison. And now Paul.
Hello everyone. I'd like to start by praising the fantastic work that our SU Media has done so far this year. At Pluto, we have chased hard-hitting news that have got you talking, and we've represented the plights and campaigns of our diverse range of clubs and societies, giving their campaigns a voice. With PR1, we've produced some fantastic features and some great interviews, such as comic legend Dave Spikey. I want to build on this, and and at PSTV and Frequency, our teams of passionate presenters, producers and equipment operators have continued to create some great shows. Now is the time to push these achievements even further. Having contributed to Pluto since I came here a year ago, I believe that we can do this by injecting new talent into our media. This year has seen a disheartening lack of first-year students contributing to our media. This is due to communication issues between our media and our students, and the taboo that only journalism students can write and contribute to our media. UCLan is a fantastic institute with some very talented students. We have great writers, fantastic camera operators, and some talented presenters who could all bring new ideas, new passions, and a new direction to our media. Through greater advertising around the university and better liaison with our lecturers, new students can be made aware of the great opportunities that SU Media can provide for all our students. With a fresh injection of ideas and contributors, we can push our media forward, representing the campaigns of our societies. From the ISOCs struggling with the ineffective opening hours of the Multi-Faith Centre, to our smaller sports teams gaining success in national competitions, the SU Media has a responsibility to make their voices heard. This can be achieved. Frequency and PSTV needs to be broadcast around our union. In Source and the Sir Tom Finney Sports Centre, UCLan sporting successes need to be shown so we can take a pride in the students and our pride in our union. So I am standing to bring new students to our media, to expand our media, and to use our media to present our clubs and represent our clubs and society better. So bet on Bowden for a student media that we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Hi everyone.
Thank you, Paul. And now over to Terry Ann. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, I'd just like to start by saying Pluto, PSTV and PR1, as well as Frequency, are all outlets of your student media, which are run by student volunteers who give up many of their precious hours to devote themselves to it. I remember the first time I heard of student media at UCLan. It was at a UCLan Open Day, and other students involved spoke to us about the benefits of being involved in student media. So in my first year at UCLan, I signed up to write for Pluto. Being part of student media has helped me to develop my writing skills, along with people skills and other attributes that I feel I would not have developed if I was not involved. Along with this, I have also made some brilliant friends. Student media should be everything to somebody, not just something for everyone. Being a part of Pluto and being features editor is everything to me. I realised that I came to UCLan to get a degree, but this has helped me improve in ways that I could not have been taught. Having that responsibility is priceless. I realise that a lot of people have issues with student media, whether it's because they don't like the people who run it, or they don't like the content, or they think that the equipment is outdated. I would love to stand here and promise you all that I will get the state-of-art facilities and make our publications world-class, but I just can't. Student media here is what the volunteers make it, and without them we would not get very far. What I would like to do if I'm elected as media officer is make PSTV more public, making students more aware of it. The team at PSTV do a great job of filming gigs and sporting events. I'd like to make it a lot more successful. I'd like to improve the sound quality that Frequency produces, possibly look into ways that new equipment could be used, and appeal to UCLan's cafes and shops to have Frequency playing throughout the day.
With PR1, I would like to look into the design and layout of the magazine, as PR1 is a great outlet for people who don't just want to read news but want to read about fashion, lifestyle, film and music. I would think about introducing a review section into Pluto, as well as reporting on more local news and perhaps tie this in with some softer national news stories. With the online side of student media, I want to keep going with the great work that Dave has put in over the past year.
Time.
Just vote for Terry Ann.
Okay, we've had 3 questions submitted, so we will be taking all 3 questions. Candidates have 30 seconds to answer. It will go in the order of speeches. The first question is, raising awareness of the union, promoting its services, are ideas put forward by many. Do you think student media should be an internal promoter for the union or an independent news source, and why?
It should be an independent news source. I'm sorry to anyone that wants to promote the union within student media, but the media itself is a standalone body. It's a news service to students. It's not to promote societies. However, I've spoken to a few people from sports and societies, and we are looking into doing more coverage of sport on a Wednesday specifically to improve that side of the media.
Okay. Next candidate.
I think it should be internal. It should be about students, shouldn't it? Basically, with sports and societies, I want to make it a holistic newspaper, expressing views, getting debates going, to create that want for the paper. So yeah, I definitely think it should be internal, as it is about the students' union. It is about the students, it's about the voice.
Okay, Alison.
I think that it should be internal. At the end of the day, this university is a community, and everyone involved in this university is part of that community. The UCLan media should be promoting everything that goes on here, whether that be sport, societies or groups. So I would like to push the promotion of that across the board.
Okay, and Paul.
Students' union media needs to represent the students of that union. The sports teams, the societies and the individual messages of each student need to be represented by media. Yes, it needs to remain independent, but it also needs to represent the messages that students want to put across, and that therefore is important that the union represents the members of its union. Thank you.
And finally, Terry Ann.
I think it should be independent. I think if we advertise every single society, then it's just going to end up as a magazine or a newspaper of posters. It is important that we do promote societies, but I think the university can do that in other ways, not just student media.
Okay, thank you, candidates. The second question is, media volunteers often take a lot of criticism for their work. How do you aim to protect their interests whilst producing quality publications? Jack, if you want to go first.
Media volunteers know what they're taking on when they're writing for Pluto or going on Frequency or going on PSTV. I believe that the volunteers, I can only speak for myself, I've got broad shoulders. I took it on when people criticise my work, and hopefully people in their first and second year can do the same.
Sophie?
I believe that every person's an individual, so I think you can't stop criticism at the end of the day. And like he said before, if you're willing to go out there and write a thing, you've got to also accept the criticism that may come with it.
Alison?
I think that you will always have to expect criticism. It's just the world that we live in, and I think that a lot of people who get involved with student media should be encouraged to voice their opinions, but in a professional manner. And everyone should feel that they can criticise work if that's their free opinion, but we have to still encourage the students who get involved to wholeheartedly go about that professionally.
And Paul?
Our media volunteers dedicate a lot of their time and work within the community, so any complaint against one person is a complaint against everyone and a complaint against the community. As a media officer, I take those complaints on board, talk to the people involved and reach a professional and diplomatic solution to any complaints raised. Criticisms are, of course, welcome at any time to keep work professional, but the interests of the individual contributors need to be protected.
Brilliant, thank you, Paul. And finally, Terry-Ann.
SU Media is run by volunteers, and if I'm elected, I would like to protect them in every way. Criticism is hard, and we are to expect it running such a big organisation, but our media volunteers do expect this and take this so gracefully, and I hold my hands up to them. They're brilliant, all the volunteers that we have at Pluto, PSTV and Frequency and PR1.
Brilliant, thank you, candidates. The third and final question is, how will you get PSTV and Frequency around campus? How will you make it technically possible through the experience you have?
Well, I know Dave spent a lot of money in the last couple of weeks making the equipment better in Frequency, and I plan to broadcast Frequency across the campus during Freshers Week. It's £1,000 a week, so it's not something that's viable all throughout the year, and I don't believe anyone that tells you that is telling you the truth. However, I want to increase content on PSTV to include lots of sports coverage, especially on a Wednesday, and have more debate and discussions on Frequency as well to get students involved.
Okay. Sophie?
I believe that publicising it effectively through various marketing techniques is the way to go. So we'd publicise it at Freshers Week and publicise it throughout the year. I think people forget, oh, it's just Freshers Week and we'll do it then. But to keep it going throughout the year, keep mentioning them, keep getting the signs and keep them moving. Yeah, that's what I think.
Alison?
There have been quite a lot of high-profile financial limitations with PSTV and Frequency, and the team here have worked ridiculously hard to try and solve those problems. But there's different ways that we can go about it. As the other candidates have said, promoting everything in freshers, getting people on board, and liaising with lecturers, such as mine, with the shows that are going out like tomorrow, and getting UCLan students to do stuff in their university time to help and liaise with lecturers and Frequency and PSTV.
Again, promotion is the key to this. Sorry.
Yep.
Promotion is the key to getting our media broadcast wider. We have TVs in this room here, we have TVs down in Sir Tom Finney Sports Centre, and we have TVs in Source. I know that realistically it can't be a 24-hour service, but every so often a big game, a big cup final where we can get behind our union and be proud of our sports teams needs to be broadcast, so there's greater pride in the union. And downstairs in Essentials, I work there also, we have occasionally put Frequency radio on, and if a big show is coming on, for example, a debate, new shows that we introduce should be broadcast through the radios at Essentials so that people hear our messages.
Thank you. And finally, Terry-Ann.
I'd like to try and encourage more volunteers to PSTV and Frequency, as well as trying to get them both broadcast throughout the university in cafes and shops.
Brilliant, thank you for that, candidates. Can I ask the audience to give a round of applause to all media candidates?